everybody, thank you for tuning in to this, probably what's going to be a very quick edition of Collector Cave, associated with the collector side of real estate, because I am a realtor by trade, and I am also a nerd, so I am posting this particular video, and I promise it's going to be quick. This is a quick review of the DC Comics Multiverse line of action figures from Mattel, and it is Aquaman from the Aquaman movie, the first action figure line based on the film. It is a collect and connect of the Trench Warrior, and that's, it's a pretty self-explanatory thing. So basically, we'll take a quick look at the packaging, and then I will crack this thing open, and we'll just have a quick look at the figure itself. So we've got a nice Multiverse box here. Collect and connect Trench Warrior on the top. Aquaman, nice picture. Mr. Jason Momoa, I hope you get to watch this video. You're awesome. And I hope, I'm looking forward to seeing the movie. I mean, I have mixed feelings about it. Personally, I think they should have done the film before they put Justice League out there, but that's just me. I think that when it comes to the films, Marvel has a leg up on DC only because of the way they tell their stories. They establish the characters first before they throw everybody into a movie, and it has a better formula. DC has yet to be able to conquer the film genre, but they are really good at television. So DC, keep up the good work with the CW, but you got to work on the movies. But anyway, so this is a review for the figure. All right, we've got decent enough packaging, DC Multiverse on the back. We've got the other figures in the lineup. Now, I'm not sure. I haven't seen in person any of these really, but, I mean, they look okay. Black Manta, I think, looks the best out of any of the figures in the line. Multiverse, all the stuff on the bottom here, yada, yada. And the Trench Warrior, that's the Collect and Connect. So, packaging is fairly simple. It's okay. I've seen better. I personally miss the DC Universe Classics series. I love the packaging. I love the figures. I love the sculpting. I love the details. They've changed the decisions that they've made on these figures, and I'll show you a comparison when we crack this thing open and get to the actual figure itself. But that's the packaging. So let's crack this bad boy open, and let's get to the actual figure. Let's do it. And we're back with Aquaman. So, here we have it. Aquaman from DC Multiverse. And the Aquaman film by Mattel. Okay. So, it's okay. I mean, it's not the best figure, but, if you're into Aquaman, if you like the movie, or if, when it comes out, you like the movie, and you are also a collector of the Multiverse line, where it mixes the Justice League with the, with the comic book figures and all the movie-related characters and all the likenesses for the movies themselves, then, I think you're in a pretty good position to pick this up. As far as a figure goes, it's okay. I'll get to the articulation and everything in a second, but as far as accessories go, it comes with this trident, which is kind of a mediocre paint job. Decent detailing. It's got some shiny metallic, it's kind of glittery plastic, I guess. They used like sort of a pearlescent kind of plastic to cast it in. It's okay. It comes with the Collect and Connect leg for the Trench Warrior creature, which the paint applications are terrible. Don't expect too much from this. I mean, some of it is kind of nice. It's got these little kind of painted scales right around here. I don't know if you can see it. It's really hard to see. I have to drop them down so you can focus on that. So you can kind of see these little painted scales here. But the paint applications on the fins are terrible. Very sloppy. So it's all right. It's a piece. It's a collecting Connect piece. I have no interest in the Connect figure, collecting Connect, whatever. So basically, we have Aquaman. Now, as far as the likeness of Jason Momoa goes, I would say that it's really not bad. Let's see if we can get a little better light here. I don't know if this is going to work or not, but we'll try it. Nope. All right, whatever. So it's not bad. It's a pretty decent likeness. And I will say that also the hand, it can only really hold the trident here or down here. Can't really hold it here. The hand isn't big enough. You might be able to force it, but then it's going to stretch it out. So one thing I will say, again, the likeness is pretty decent. Come on, focus. Focus. There we go. So the likeness itself it's not bad. It could be better, but come on. There we go. It's really not the best. However, it's better than a lot of other ones I've seen. For example, the Mezco 112 Aquaman, in my opinion, looks nothing like Jason Momoa. You guys can see that. It really doesn't look anything like him, to be honest. I don't think it does. I wish the camera would focus. There we go. See, it really doesn't look like him. This has a better likeness to Jason Momoa. So, as far as articulation, head only moves back that much, barely. Moves down slightly. As you can see, up, down, that's basically it. A little side to side. But obviously turns to the left, turns to the right. The way the figure itself is constructed, it's not bad. I mean, it's got a decent feel to it as far as the weight of the plastic. It's not bad. The paint applications are okay. They're just sort of like washed over. It's a lot of solid color plastic to save money on paint applications. So you have sort of this pearlescent wash over a gold casted plastic to give a certain look to the figure. As far as the rest of the paint applications go, this gold armor here is not bad. It's rather soft. It's kind of glued in place on the pelvis, but it's really not bad. You got the Aquaman symbol right here on the belt. All this little detailing here, the sculpted detailing for the armor. It's decent. It's decent. And as far as the proportions of the figure go, it's a pretty decent stature. He has sort of a kind of a presence about him that I think, the figure captures it rather nicely. I wouldn't say it's the best, but it's not the worst. Just to have a comparison of a really hyper comic book styled Aquaman figure, we have the DC Universe Classics Aquaman. Now, as you can see with this particular Aquaman here, look at that trident. I mean, now that is a magnificently sculpted piece. So these figures, they're really hard to compare. Now, he's got sculpted scale armor here, kind of like Captain America style. But, I mean, this is a DC Universe Classics Aquaman. The way it's sculpted, it's very comic book style. Just to kind of zoom in on that, just to give you a comparison. So, you have a very comic book style sculpt, and I don't know, it's just, really, like, this is my favorite Aquaman that I have, as far as a comic book style figure goes, as far as Aquaman goes. There's a lot of versatility to this line of figures. As you guys probably know, the DC Universe Classics line is really just a fantastic figure line. Probably one of the best in modern action figures, in my opinion anyway. So I challenge you to disagree. But, it really they really nailed their figures. One thing I will also show you, and I'll pick up the Multiverse Aquaman in a second. As you can see on the thighs. Now, one thing that really bothers me lately is on the Multiverse figures, there's a seam on the front of the thigh that they're putting into their figures. Now, this doesn't lose anything for articulation. It has a swivel right there, and it's got a seam that goes across. It has a single jointed knee, but you get plenty of range of motion. It's got a nice ankle pivot here, a nice ankle joint rather. Has a little bit of pivoting in the foot, but not much. But it's good enough. And then you don't really see a seam on the back either. You really have the seam on the inner thigh. So right in here, if you can see that, there's a line, there's that seam for the figure. Now, that's on DC Universe Classics. So now the Four Horsemen just do an amazing job sculpting. I don't particularly know who sculpted this figure, but as you can see, there's a seam that goes up the thigh right here in the front. Really poorly done, if you ask me. Not great. It doesn't look nice. They added a upper thigh swivel here. So if you can see that. Now, range of motion wise, he kicks up like this. He's got a double jointed knee. Range of motion is decent, almost like a little kneecap here. Kicks back about that much. Ankle pivot and ankle articulation forward and backwards, and his foot does pivot side to side slightly. You can sort of do, a sideways kind of stance like that, so we can get into a more dynamic pose, but the arms are weak. That's a disappointment. He crunches forward about that much, pulls backward about that much. Really has not much. He has a little bit of a waist swivel here, so you can, I'm sure you can turn him all the way around, so it's okay. Range of motion for shoulders. His arms go up 90 degrees. His arms go up all the way around, up all the way around. Now he's got a, what's typical for the shoulder, typical ball joint for the shoulder. Now look at that gap. That's really poorly done, because you can tell how they cast the figure, and that's just not nice. They did a really poor job there. If they're, they try to do these elbows here where it's a single jointed elbow and it's supposed to be a seamless sort of a, figure the way they design it, but it's really not nicely done. It's gappy. Not a fan. The paint applications on the green are very weak. I will say I do like the wrist articulation. He's got a peg joint for the wrist here. So there's some nice wrist articulation. Not bad. But this is the limit to the elbow being bent. That's as far as it goes. That's it. It's very poor. Just not a good job. Really poor decision on the design. So now overall, legs, he does a full split. So that's one thing that they do a really good job on, is kind of, they give you a lot of range of motion in the upper thigh. So they've got that worked out for them. I will give them that, but I hate this seam. It really is noticeable. And when you really get down to it, you can see it. It's on the front and it's on the back. They should have put it in the inner thigh, because on DC Universe Classics, you don't even notice. But as far as posing goes, he can do some dynamic poses. I would say, I don't know, can he do a ground pound? Let's find out. Not that Aquaman really does a ground pound, but if only he had better chest articulation. That's kind of what it looks like. It's not that great. As far as the rest of the articulation goes, you can get his trident right in his hand. And there you go. You have a somewhat dynamic Aquaman pose. Now, it's all right. Not my ideal as far as an Aquaman figure goes. So there you have it. So basically, to sum it up, I personally give this figure a fail. I'm not a fan of the recent Multiverse lines. I think that they've really, some of them are nice figures, nicely detailed. Some of them are not. I personally think that the movie property figures are really lousy. see, for example, like the Mezco, while it has a really crappy likeness of Jason Momoa, the Mezco figure, the trident is beautiful. I mean, they really did an amazing job getting that trident sculpted. You know, you can see all the detail there. Paint application's excellent. Detail on the base of the handle here. I mean, it really is just, it's a nice accessory. Articulation is rather weak. He can't do a lot. He can't move. His torso is kind of stuck there with the armor, so that's disappointing. And the likeness is really like the worst. But as far as figure goes, you know, it's not bad. It's decent. Not my favorite Aquaman. Hands down, my favorite Aquaman is DC Universe Classics Aquaman. And I just also happen to have here, so you can kind of see the difference in height. They're about the same height. And then, of course, you have the Super Friends Aquaman. Like that. Now, this particular figure, I like this, the whole Mermaid Man thing going on right there. But, you know, as far as comparing to the comic book style Aquaman, just no way. Doesn't compare. So, I just wanted to put that in there to show you a few different Aquamans. Ta-da! So, getting these out of here. This particular figure, I will have to give it a fail because it's really just not a great figure. It's just, you know, sorry Mattel, but you got to do better, in my opinion. Bring back 4 Horsemen to do your sculpts. Stop with these funky joints. There's nothing wrong with the DC Universe Classic style. But that's pretty much it. So that is my review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And, you know, if you are going to collect it, go for it. I mean, I can understand if you're into the Multiverse line and everything else, you know, yeah, you're going to want to buy it for your collection. In my opinion, it's not a great figure. I have quite a few gripes with it. But overall, you know, you got to do what you got to do. Add it to your collection if you feel you need to add it to your collection. Otherwise, I will leave it with that. Now, one thing I will ask you guys to do, please like my page, subscribe, comment, share the video. Anybody has any figures they'd like me to review, I'd love to take them, do a review. I'll send them back to you. Otherwise, I'm always open for free stuff anyway. So, but anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will be seeing you next time. Take care.